welcome back to my channel. Today we explore the value of specific coins, the top 5 most valuable Washington silver quarters. So let's get started. First up, the 1974 Washington quarter with the Denver Mint mark. This coin was struck at the Denver Mint and carries a small D on the obverse side just to the right of George Washington's ponytail. When most people think of valuable coins, they picture old silver dollars or rare heirs, but even common quarters like this one have stories to tell and a place in the larger world of coin collecting. The 1974 quarter marked another year in the long run of Washington quarters, which began in 1932, and while it is not made of silver, it still catches the interest of collectors because of its age, its design, and the story behind how coins are valued by numismatists and everyday collectors alike. The Washington quarter you hold in your hand was produced in copper-nickel clad composition, meaning layers of copper and nickel bonded together to create a silver-colored coin without any actual silver content. This change in metal composition occurred after 1964, when silver was removed from regular circulation quarters. What that means for you with a 1974 Denver quarter is that its metal value is far below its face value, so the numismatic value attached to it comes entirely from condition, rarity among survivors, and collector demand rather than any melt value of precious metals. In normal, fine circulated condition, where the coin shows clear wear from handling over decades, but retains recognizable details like the date, the outline of Washington's portrait, and elements of the eagle on the reverse, this 1974 D quarter is a piece of everyday American history. When grading coins by eye or with books, a fine condition tells us the high points of the coin are smooth from circulation, the major features are worn but still defined, and there are no dramatic scratches or damage that would detract further from its grade. In the current market, a 1974 Denver quarter in this circulated fine condition typically trades for about the same as its face value, up to around $1 or slightly more depending on how even the wear is and how pleasing it looks to a buyer. This means that in most transactions today, you could expect to see around 25 cents up to possibly $1 for such a coin, with that dollar figure representing the upper range for a clean, fine example with attractive wear and no obvious damage. For many collectors, this range reflects the reality that over 350 million of these Denver minted quarters were produced, and most of them have survived in similar worn conditions since they were first spent in daily commerce, making them common and easy to find. It is important to understand that coin values are not fixed. They are shaped by what collectors are willing to pay at any given moment, by auction results, dealer pricing, and the balance between supply and demand for certain dates and mint marks. A coin like this one can become a part of a specialized collection of Washington quarters, where collectors seek to assemble examples from every year, every mint mark, and in a range of conditions. And in that context, even a circulated fine coin has its place and purpose. As you examine your own 1974 Denver quarter, look for the details that tell the story of its life. Notice the smoothness of Washington's cheek and hair, the worn edges of the eagle's wings on the reverse, the way the fields of the coin have lost their original luster from decades of pocket wear. Those signs of circulation remind us that this was once used in everyday transactions, bought groceries, paid parking meters, and passed from hand to hand countless times. If you were to take this coin to a local coin show or show it to a knowledgeable collector, they would likely confirm that in ordinary fine condition, it does not command high premiums beyond perhaps a small numismatic premium above face value. But that does not make the coin any less fascinating. It serves as a physical connection to the past, a little piece of metal that has survived more than 50 years and can still be held, examined, and appreciated. Whether you found yours in a jar of old coins, in your pocket, or in change from a purchase, understanding what makes its value what it is today helps you appreciate the broader world of coin collecting, beyond simply chasing big numbers. In contrast to error coins or high mint state specimens that might fetch hundreds or thousands of dollars, a standard circulated 1974 D quarter in fine condition remains a modest but meaningful collectible, valued in the range of about 25 cents to around $1 in the open market for typical pieces like this one. It represents the enduring appeal of numismatics, where even common coins can invite curiosity, spark conversations about history, and encourage more people to look closely at the coins they encounter every day. Next up, the 1991 Washington quarter with the D mint mark. It is very important to clear one common misunderstanding first. This coin is not made of silver, even though many people casually call older quarters silver. The Washington quarter struck in 1991 was produced using a copper and nickel clad composition. The era of regular silver quarters in the United States had already ended long before this date, so the 1991 D quarter does not carry any precious metal value, and its worth today depends only on condition, demand, and collector interest. The Denver Mint produced a very large number of Washington quarters in 1991. These coins were made for everyday circulation and were used heavily in daily transactions, such as shopping, vending machines, and cash registers. Because of this extremely high production and wide circulation, the coin is considered very common in the coin collecting world, even today. Many people still find 1991 D quarters in pocket change or stored away in jars and drawers. A normal, good condition coin means that it has clearly been used but is not completely worn out. The portrait of George Washington on the front is still visible, the date 1991 can be read without difficulty, and the D mint mark is clear on the coin. On the back, the eagle design is also still recognizable, even though fine details may be weak. This level of wear places the coin into a basic circulated category and not into a high-grade collectible range. Because the 1991 D Washington quarter is common and not silver, its value in today's market remains modest. In normal, good condition, most examples are worth close to their original face value of $0.25. Sometimes a buyer may pay slightly more depending on demand or personal interest, but in realistic terms, this coin usually stays near its face value and does not reach high dollar amounts. Collectors generally do not consider it a valuable coin unless it is in extremely high condition or has a clear and unusual mint error. Coins with major errors or coins that somehow survived circulation in almost perfect condition can attract more attention, but these are rare exceptions. A standard 1991 D Washington quarter in normal, circulated, good condition without any special features is simply a common circulation coin and not a rare collectible. Even so, this coin still holds historical interest as part of the long-running Washington Quarter series, which began in the early 20th century and continued for decades before newer designs were introduced. The 1991 quarter represents everyday American life from that time period and tells a story of how money moved through society from hand to hand over many years. In conclusion, if you own a 1991 Washington quarter with a D mint mark in normal, good condition, the honest and realistic expectation is that its value today in dollars is limited and usually remains close to $0.25. While it may not be highly valuable, it is still a genuine piece of circulating history and a reminder that not every old coin automatically becomes rare or expensive over time. Next up, the 1996 Washington quarter dollar with D mint mark in normal good condition. Many people call it a silver quarter, but the truth is a little different and very important for collectors and beginners to understand clearly, so stay with me because this knowledge can save you money and help you know the real value of what you have. The Washington quarter design has been part of United States coin history since 1932. Created to honor George Washington, the first president of the United States. The obverse shows Washington facing left with the words Liberty and In God We Trust, while the reverse of the 1996 quarter still carries the classic eagle design with spread wings holding arrows and olive branches, a symbol of strength and peace. This design was used until 1998, just before the state quarter program began. Now let us focus on the year 1996. This was an interesting time in modern coinage. By this period, regular circulation quarters were no longer made of silver. The United States stopped using silver in circulating quarters after 1964. From 1965 onward, quarters were made of a copper core with outer layers of nickel. This includes the 1996 Washington quarter from the Denver Mint. So if you have a 1996 D quarter, it is not a silver coin, even though many people online or in markets may call it silver. The D mint mark means the coin was produced at the Denver Mint, which struck a very large number of quarters in 1996. Millions upon millions were made to support everyday circulation. Because of this high mintage, the coin is considered common and easy to find even today in pocket change, rolls, and old jars stored at home. However, condition still matters. When collectors talk about value, a normal, good condition coin means the coin shows clear signs of circulation. The high points of Washington hair and cheek may be worn. The eagle feathers on the reverse may be less sharp, and the overall surface may look dull with small scratches from everyday use, but all main details are still visible and readable. In today's market, a 1996 Washington quarter dollar with D mint mark in normal, good circulated condition has a value very close to its face value, which is 25 cents in most cases. It trades between $0.25 and $0.50, depending on demand and location. It does not carry a premium like older silver quarters or rare error coins. Some people confuse this coin with the 1996 silver proof quarter, which was made only for collectors and struck at a different mint. Those silver versions were never released into circulation and were sold in special sets. This is why it is very important to check the mint mark and understand the metal composition before assuming high value. Even though the 1996 D Washington quarter dollar is not rare and not silver, it still holds educational and historical interest. It represents the final years of the classic eagle reverse design and the closing chapter before the popular state quarter era began. For new collectors, this coin can be a good example to learn grading, mint marks, and the difference between silver and clad coinage. Many experienced collectors recommend keeping a few examples in the best condition you can find, especially uncirculated coins, because while circulated pieces remain common, high-grade coins from circulation years can become harder to locate over time. But in normal, good condition, the value remains modest and realistic expectations are important. To summarize clearly, the 1996 Washington quarter dollar with D mint mark in normal, good circulated condition is not made of silver, and its current market value today is around $0.25 to $0.50. It is a common coin with historical value rather than high monetary value, and knowing this helps collectors avoid confusion and misinformation. Next up, the 1965 Washington quarter dollar without a mint mark in extra fine condition, and we will discuss its features, historical context, and current market value in dollars. The year 1965 was an important year for United States coins because it marked a significant change in the composition of quarters. Before 1965, quarters were made of 90% silver and 10% copper. Rising silver prices led the government to remove silver completely from circulating quarters and replace it with a copper-nickel clad composition. This change meant that 1965 quarters were the first in decades to be made entirely without silver, and they were struck with layers of copper and nickel bonded together to create a durable coin. Another notable fact about 1965 quarters is that mint marks were temporarily removed from all coins. This was done to prevent hoarding and to simplify the transition to the new metal composition. As a result, quarters from this year do not have a mint mark, which does not indicate the place of production, but is a reflection of this special policy. The mintage for 1965 quarters was extremely high. Over 1.5 billion quarters were produced and distributed across the United States. Because of this high production, the 1965 quarter is very common in circulation today. Most of these coins were used as everyday money, which means many of them show wear, making higher grade coins more desirable for collectors. Extra fine condition is a grade that describes a coin with light wear on the highest points of the design, but still retaining most of its original details. On a 1965 quarter in extra fine condition, the features of George Washington's portrait are clear, and the eagle on the reverse shows most of its feather details. The coin may show some slight flattening on the high points, but overall it maintains a pleasing appearance. Coins in this condition are considered above average for circulated pieces and are sought after by collectors who want a well-preserved example without buying an uncirculated coin. In terms of value, the 1965 Washington quarter dollar without a mint mark in extra fine condition is modestly valued. Because the coin contains no silver and is very common, its market value is slightly above face value. Most 1965 quarters in extra fine condition are valued between $3 to $10, depending on the specific condition and eye appeal. Coins with exceptional detail or very strong strike may reach slightly higher prices, but generally remain within this modest range. The coin's historical significance and collectible grade add some interest, but the common nature of this issue limits its value in today's market. It is also important to note that there are rare error varieties of 1965 quarters, including coins accidentally struck on leftover silver planchets or with unusual minting mistakes. These error coins are extremely rare and highly prized by collectors. They can sell for hundreds or thousands of dollars because they are not typical and unusual in the series. However, standard 1965 Washington quarters without a mint mark in extra fine condition follow the typical value range and are appreciated more for their historical significance and quality of preservation. Collectors may enjoy acquiring a 1965 Washington quarter in extra fine condition because it represents the transition from silver to clad coins and reflects the changes in coin production policies at the time. The removal of the mint mark makes it unique in appearance compared to earlier and later quarters. Holding one of these coins is like holding a piece of history, showing the changes in both the economy and coin manufacturing during the mid-1960s. In summary, the 1965 Washington quarter dollar without a mint mark in extra fine condition is a common yet historically important coin. It marks the end of silver quarters and the beginning of copper-nickel clad coins. Its value is modest, generally slightly above face value, but its collectible grade and historical context make it interesting for both casual collectors and those building a comprehensive coin collection. Finding a well-preserved example allows collectors to enjoy a piece of United States coinage that continues to be passed down from generation to generation. Next up, the 1966 Washington quarter with a D mint mark in good condition. This coin is part of the Washington Quarter series, which has been a staple of American currency since it was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The series replaced the Standing Liberty Quarter and quickly became a favorite among collectors for its classic design and historical significance. The 1966 Washington quarter is particularly interesting because it comes from a period when the U.S. Mint had already ceased the use of silver in quarters for general circulation. The Coinage Act of 1965 had reduced the silver content in dimes and quarters from 90% to a clad composition due to rising silver prices and coin hoarding. However, quarters dated 1966 still maintained a composition of 40% silver and 60% copper, making them highly sought after by both collectors and investors in precious metals. This particular coin was minted in Denver, indicated by the D mint mark located on the obverse side just to the right of Washington's neck and above the date. The D mint mark signifies its place of origin and can influence its rarity and value depending on the year and condition. The design of the 1966 Washington quarter remains consistent with the original 1932 design. The obverse features a profile portrait of George Washington facing left, with the inscriptions "Liberty" above and "In God We Trust" to the left side of his profile. The date is displayed prominently beneath his neck. The reverse of the coin features a heraldic eagle with outstretched wings, perched on a bundle of arrows with 2 olive branches below, signifying both strength and peace. This design is considered timeless and has been in circulation for decades with only minor modifications over the years. The D mint mark version of the 1966 quarter was minted in substantial quantities, with over 250 million coins produced at the Denver Mint, making it relatively common in general circulation. Despite the high mintage, the 1966 D Washington quarter in good condition still holds significant value today, primarily due to its silver content and its appeal among collectors who focus on mid-20th century coinage. A coin in good condition shows considerable signs of wear, but still retains the major details of Washington's profile and the eagle on the reverse. The edges will be worn down, and the finer details, such as hairlines or feathers, may be less visible, yet the coin is still recognizable and collectible. In today's market, a 1966 D Washington quarter in good condition can range in value depending on current silver prices and collector demand. The melt value of the coin, due to its 40% silver content alone, is often higher than its face value, which makes it a practical collectible as well as a small investment in precious metals. As of recent market trends, a coin in good condition typically sells for around $25 to $30 in standard transactions through online marketplaces or coin dealers. Coins that are in higher grades or uncirculated can fetch higher prices, but even those in lower circulated grades maintain a consistent value because they contain real silver. Collectors are particularly interested in the 1966 D Washington quarter, not only for its silver content, but also because it represents a transitional period in United States coinage history, where the mint was adapting to the rising cost of silver and changing economic conditions. The coin captures both historical and monetary significance, making it a valuable addition to any coin collection. It is also relatively accessible to new collectors who want to begin a collection with silver coins without paying the premium required for older 90% silver quarters from before 1965. When acquiring a 1966 D Washington quarter, it's important to evaluate the coin's condition carefully. Look for signs of excessive wear, corrosion, or cleaning which can reduce its value. A coin that has been cleaned aggressively may lose much of its numismatic value even if its silver content remains the same. The best practice is to purchase coins from reputable sources and, if possible, have them graded by a professional coin grading service, which can authenticate the coin and provide an accurate assessment of its condition and value. In summary, the 1966 D Washington quarter with D mint mark in good condition is an excellent example of mid-century United States coinage. Its 40% silver composition adds intrinsic value beyond face value, making it attractive to both collectors and investors. Its design remains iconic, and the historical context of being minted shortly after the Coinage Act of 1965 adds to its collectible appeal. The coin continues to hold steady market value today, ranging around $25 to $30 for a good condition example, which makes it accessible for most collectors while still offering a tangible investment in silver. Whether you're a new collector or a seasoned investor in numismatics, the 1966 D Washington quarter remains a fascinating and valuable piece of American history and currency. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more coin collecting content. See you next time. Happy collecting!